trees, but
Yeah.
maybe we can get some rain.
Are you serious? It's going to start raining again?
That's what it says. It's going to storm at 3.
All
It'll
right.
be hot rain.
Yeah, I was about to say, it'll evaporate before it hits the ground. Okay, you show to be live again. I believe we're back on.
I think we are now.
We are back.
That was weird.
Welcome back to part 2. We're like TikTok now.
Part 2. Part 2.
Part 2.
Hey, so let's So I
Chris,
wanted to...
Chris, I have a question for you first
Yeah,
before we get too far.
All right, what's up?
So you're still active.
Right.
So have you seen it with your officers that they take longer to make decisions because they're scared of ending up on the news?
Yes. Absolutely. We, as a matter of fact, since this incident happened on June 14th, I've really started to. What's so funny, Bill, as you say that, is that I've really been thinking about that a lot lately. Obviously, I was not in that motel room with my friend and the other officer, so I don't know what happened. I haven't had an opportunity to take a look at the body cam footage, but what I'm noticing today is, especially with our DA Gascon, who he's talks about prosecuting cops, and they now have
that dude fucking sucks.
I know.
I'll say it.
I'll say it. Yeah.
He fucking sucks.
Thankfully, it looks like the recall is going to go through because they got 150,000 more. But anyways, with that, I truly believe that officers now are second guessing themselves, and they're not engaging like they normally would because they don't want to be on the 5 o'clock news. So yes, and that's what I wanted to go to, is that, or I wanted to say, is that we got to stop policing based upon public opinion. We just got to do our job. And if administrators are going out there and telling their officers, well, maybe you shouldn't put your hand on your gun when you're on a traffic stop, bullshit. You know what? We all have gut instincts, and if you have, maybe you pull your gun out and have it behind your butt while you're talking to that person. Fucking go home. We got to stop policing based upon what people who have no experience, and do your damn job. What I mean by doing your damn job is that do your job so you go home safe. If you got to put down someone fast and hard, do it. And then you know what? Articulate why you did it. Yes, you know what? And all the three of us all know this, is that there is no way in hell that it will ever look pretty taking someone into custody who does not want to be taken into custody. That's it.
I think you died again.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was going on such a good tangent.
Oh, it's back up.
Oh, it's back up?
Or is this the recording? No, it's back up.
I still show live on my end.
It blipped for a second. It was good.
That's weird.
Yeah. Okay. I'm back now. It's showing. Yeah, it's showing us live again. Refresh. Okay, there it is.
Yeah. I like Bill's comment. Gascon's trying to shut me down right now.
No, but I'm with you that I think that there's a.
Well, it's dangerous. That's a dangerous way to be a cop.
Yeah, there was an interesting. I vividly remember being new to policing and coming out and being really shocked the first time I had to work with fugitives. Did it do it again?
Yes.
Did it refresh again?
Did it? Dude.
I'm watching.
Yeah, mine says video unavailable.
I refreshed and I'm here again. This is weird. They're trying to shut you down, Chris.
I'm showing I'm still live.
Okay, cool. I'll keep going. I refreshed it and I'm good now. But I remember I was a rookie and I was maybe less than a year on the street. And the very first time I dealt with fugitives, I was just working the perimeter. They're like, hey, I need patrol.
Yes.
I'm going to set a perimeter. They're going to go do a warrant service. And these guys, it was them and K9 that came out. And this is a pretty bad, violent felony warrant, right? The guy had already, I think, shot at law enforcement prior. So that's why they were taking the call very seriously. And so I get on the perimeter, and they whole ass rip that man out of that apartment and put him into cuffs. And again, it was a successful disposition. They didn't have to stick the bite dog on him, and nobody got shot, nobody got hurt, right? Nobody had to go to the hospital. But I remember thinking, like, damn, these guys are pretty crusty. How is it that when I try to do arrests, and why does my arrest look different than theirs? And why are they treating the situation different? And I had never really, outside of Crossbow Boy and a handful of other things that I had in field training, 99% of my calls required the very soft, courteous, community policing based officer. And I asked one of my corporals that was there, and I was at a field training, but I still asked him, he's a senior officer, and I was like, how do I know how to do that? When do I know to be that guy? And he said experience.
Yeah.
Is literally what came out of his mouth. He just said, he's like, eventually you learn to move and shake. And he's like, you'll get this odd sense of urgency on your heart that tells you, hey, this isn't just like a noise complaint call.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like a speeding ticket that you're, this is a violent felony in progress. This is my last year on patrol, I remember getting that look from the rookies that I was helping. I remember them looking at me like, holy shit, like, that's kosher? I was like, probably not. But you know what? We're all going home today.
We're going
you
home.
know what I mean?
Well, and Josh and I left at just the right time.
Yeah.
Like, I will tell you right now, I could not be a police officer in this climate.
No.
At least not at the department that we worked at.
And really what it comes down to is, like, again, just in the time that we were on patrol, we watched a cop die every day. Doing the job. You know what I mean? You can't, I guarantee you, at least within this week, we're going to have more officers die doing the job. And that's shitty. That's a shitty feeling. But, and I've had this discussion. It was one of the very first podcasts we did with Chris. I was like, hey, ultimately, there is a bill to be paid for our society to be the way that it is. And the longer you allow politicians to create this shitty narrative, and as long as you allow popular culture and all of this stuff to run away with this ridiculous narrative of gang violence and allowing, toxic idiots to do toxic idiot things, someone has to pay that price. And it's either going to be you, the citizen, or law enforcement that's voluntarily putting themselves in harm's way for you. And so, like, when we act or move and shake in a very specific way.
Wow.
I think it's gone.
I refreshed and it says it's private.
Again?
It's gone now.
Oh, you're right.
It's gone. Hold on.
Is Fox fucking with you? Is he in on your channel just messing things up because you fired him?
It's showing live again now.
Yeah.
It's live again.
I just reset it. I just don't know. For some reason.
I guess just stay hot on the button there. The YouTube's trying to shut it down.
Dude, right?
We're speaking too much truth.
We're speaking.
Good thing you're recording this, Josh.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we are recording this, so shout out to that. We'll edit some of this stuff out. But like I said, that hesitation will get you killed.
It's only going to get worse now that they're dropping standards for police officers because nobody wants to do this job. And nobody wants to do it.
Well, and it's not, and I don't ever want to, and we talked about this the other day about what happens when you see officers getting hurt and such. You'll see the guy there are better cops than me or than what I was that are getting hurt in this job because there's the shortest of fucking straws out there that somebody's got to go pull. And I think a lot of people don't realize, again, the circumstances you're really placing law enforcement in a lot of those scenarios. There's somewhere to lose. It's just whoever decided to answer that call that ends up taking that short stick. And it's just, I don't know. It's a hard, the added hesitation is doing nothing but making that harder. If you already have a highly motivated asshole that's going to go sit there and he in his mind has already decided that, hey, I'm going to hurt anybody and everyone that shows up here. Doesn't matter how cool or high speed, low drag you are. There's SWAT officers that die. There's the example I always bring up is Chris Kyle, one of the most dangerous people on the planet. Died probably getting shot in the back at a gun range well after he trying
to do something good, and he gets executed essentially.
And so most of the people will complain about the circumstances that lead up to that, but do nothing about it. But we are tasking law enforcement with stepping up to the plate a lot of times, and again, at our own risk or detriment, whether it's your mental health, whether it's your relationship with your family and friends, or again, ultimately your body and your life. We're all paying that toll. It's the reason why our life expectancy is like 50 something. as like we are paying that for you to have the freedoms that you enjoy and get to be an asshole for free online. we we are the ones paying that toll. And eventually, and I hope this is not the case, but I think what we're slowly going to start to see, as you see that Bill and I left, and you're going to start to see people like Chris leave, and they're not getting replaced with people that are motivated and willing to go do the job in the dangerous way that it needs to get done. And citizens are going to start paying that toll, and then they're going to ask back for. My fear is that they go back clamoring and asking for those types of cops, and none of them are willing to sign up for it. That's my fear for society. I'll be fine. Bill's fine. Chris at 80 is going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that man.
That's in a couple of years, right?
Yeah. That's yeah.
Feels like it. Feels like it. Trust me.
Sure. But ultimately, we are practitioners in violence.
Yeah.
I pity the guy that ends up kicking in my door.
Yeah.
I pity the guy that tries to go and abduct me and my wife while we're at the store or whatever it is.
But chances are it won't be you. Chances are it's going to be the larger percent of the population that doesn't know how to protect themselves and relies on police, even though they complain about the police most of the time.
And what's going to be and what's the most frustrating for me when I watch this stuff, and Chris probably feels this in a deeper way than I do, is that once they become the victim and once they're having to pay the price that law enforcement wasn't there to do it, the first thing out of their mouth is what are cops doing about it?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We are the first one placed at the head of the line that has to. Oh no, you need to be doing more.
Yeah.
They don't care about their own personal accountability. We had somebody in the chat ask about the Second Amendment, and that was my immediate response. Hey, the citizens should have the same thing cops have, because ultimately they're going to be responsible for their own safety. Ultimately.
I want everyone armed under the Second Amendment, because if you're using the Second Amendment, that means you're a law-abiding citizen. You're not a criminal.
Yep.
I've never had a bad interaction with someone concealed carrying a weapon that wasn't a criminal and shouldn't have had that weapon to begin with.
Agreed.
Never. So, anyways, we'll keep going.
I was actually gonna, I was gonna say is that I'm gonna send you guys a link for a video that I want you guys to do a breakdown on, because what I like about the video is, and it goes back to how we are as police officers, where once again defending that we're not the killers that people think we are. In this particular video, and I don't know if you've seen it before, it's a couple of years back, but Las Vegas Metro is pursuing a vehicle. The suspect jumps out of the car, which he allows to crash into another car, a parked car. The Ring camera captures the perspective from the house, obviously, and then we see the body cam footage. But the guy shoots a round off into the air, and you don't ever see, unfortunately, if he points it. But I'm going to assume he does point the gun. Officers return fire, take him out. He's alive still, but they get him in the femoral artery. Officers go from defending themselves within a second, now applying a tourniquet to this guy who just tried to kill him to save his life. And it's just like, if you think of, I don't even know if society can wrap their head around that. Someone just tried to kill you, and now you're trying to save their life. That's the dichotomy of being a police officer. 1 minute, someone's trying to kill us, we defend ourselves, but that same person I want to have you guys break down that video, because it's just, I use it in my criminal justice class, and I use it in my EMT class, obviously to show a tourniquet, but it just speaks volumes to those officers that went into that life-saving mode, even though they just had someone try to kill them.
And that's indicative of really good training, I will say that.
But no, society's not going to understand that, because society, when they're driving down the road and somebody cuts them off, they want to drive that person into a freaking ditch. So, no, they don't. They're not going to, that's the problem with everything being so fast and convenient now. Everybody feels so entitled.
I call it the world star hip hop standard. As that you will watch somebody damn near take a life-altering injury for being disrespectful, and you'll get 1,000 likes and everyone saying, shit, yeah, he deserved it, so on and so forth. But if you're a cop and you have a completely justified shooting, I mean, this guy is shooting at you, trying to take your life, you shoot that guy back, there's going to be very real questions. Heck, I've done it before. I'm like, all right, the guy's not moving anymore and he's bleeding. Let's go do some life-saving shit. Yeah. Not because I think the guy deserves it, but because I'm nervous for them from a liability standpoint on the back end.
So.
Because you're seizing him. A deadly force is a completely constitutionally protected way for law enforcement to seize that person. Perfectly, you can leverage deadly force to seize another human being if you have PC and you're justified to do it as far as your use of force continuum is concerned. However,
right,
in the back of our minds, we're not held to the same standard you are. You can beat an unconscious person, and 0 charges will come out of that.
Yeah.
But if you could get shot, shoot the guy back, and if you are not holding your neck while putting a tourniquet on that guy, you're legitimately potentially seeing civil liability on that.
Yeah.
And charges on it, which is mind-blowing to me, but that's the case. You are not held to the same standard, despite the fact that your life should be just as valuable. Hey, wait, who showed up?
Yeah, look at that. I was just gonna say, who is in the chat?
The prodigal son. Wow, Jesus. Can you explain Tennessee V Garner? I believe Tennessee V Garner is the case that we're specifically talking about as far as...
Yeah.
I believe it was... Oh, you're fine. I believe it was a sheriff or somebody like that was pursuing a fleeing felon.
Yeah.
And that fleeing felon was armed, and as he was basically clearing a fence to protect a third party, which they don't know if that third party's on the other side of the fence, an officer, you leverage deadly force to seize that person, to keep them from running, basically to keep them from escaping, and that seizure was upheld with, I believe it was a Supreme Court case.
Yep.
And so the terminology used around that was that you're leveraging deadly force to seize a fleeing felon. And again, it should be a violent
or the protection of a third party, which would have been the public.
And so, like, you got to think, if the analogy most people like to use is if, and this is now a little bit more poignant, if I have an armed person running towards a school, even if he's not necessarily posing a deadly threat to me, in defense of a third party or a third person, I can leverage deadly force to seize that person. Yeah. And again, it's a completely authorized. Again, it is a constitutionally protected and reinforced means of using deadly force, but it's so often hung in the political theater, or the court of public opinion, and then you'll see people clamoring and rioting because they don't understand the complexity of the situation. Welcome to the stream, he said, as always. But yeah, deadly force is authorized by saving life and prioritizing. Yeah, and I've said this a couple of times in our stream. The second you stop valuing other people's lives, I stop valuing yours.
Yep.
As an observer and as a third party, and to be honest, now that I'm a civilian and I have all my constitutional rights back, yeah. You'd be really hard pressed to get a tourniquet out of me if you tried to kill me. I'll tell you that.
No, you can't have my tourniquet.
Sorry, this is for friends and family only. Sorry, kid.
Don't we apply this over the carotids?
Hold on. It's supposed to hurt.
Oh, it's too funny. But yeah. Yeah, that's. I just, like I said, I love the fact that you guys do the breakdowns, and I'm gonna throw this shout out too as we coming close to our end of our stream. Is that for those of you watching and those of you going to watch later, if you truly want to watch some awesome breakdowns, you got to head on over to OnlyCops. They do a great show. They give you the perspective. They don't always side with the cops. They'll call bullshit, and they call bullshit a lot.
That's like 40-60. You're getting. Yeah. I would be nervous if my body cam ended up on our show. Because if I fucked up even a little, I'm going to be like, look, guy, do better. Yeah. Be better at this.
Do better. Yeah.
And you know, and I love the fact that you said that, guys, is that do better. Because you know what? Here's the one thing I think, too, that happens in law enforcement is people don't want to learn their craft anymore. They don't want to be, it's like, it always seems like so many people, not so many, that'd be the wrong term to say, is that I can't stand those people who... They're always looking for, like, hey, I want to do this. Well, why don't we learn how to be a patrol officer first before we go and try to do this, Yep. One of the funniest things I heard from a sergeant was, oh, you know what? Hey, I want to be a chief. And I'm like, I said, why don't we try to learn how to be a sergeant
You're
first?
like, you suck as a sergeant. You're not going to make a good chief.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny is you're so right, Bill, because he does suck as a sergeant. I'm like, you think that people like you, and they don't, because I hear all the shit talking about you. You're a weak ass leader, or not even a leader. You're just a weak ass manager because you're not a leader.
Yeah.
And
you know how I knew he sucked? The fact that he said he wanted to be a chief.
That's exactly it.
No good officer wants to be a chief. Now they may get there at some point because, you know,
circumstances
of whatever reason, but no good officer wants to be a chief.
I 100% agree with you. When I was coming up through the ranks, becoming a chief didn't come till until I was at a lieutenant level where I'm saying, okay, what's going to be my next step? You know, do I want there to be a next step? And once again, though, for some reason, people believe that rank defines who they are. And it shouldn't, because the simple fact, and you guys know this, is that there are people within an organization that have more power than the chief of police.
Yeah.
And people will follow them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, the sergeants and lieutenants truly are the movers and shakers in leadership as far as police activity is concerned. You know who's organizing?
Patrol sergeants, 100%. Like I had some patrol sergeants that I would have followed anywhere and done anything for.
Yeah.
And then I had some other ones that I didn't want anywhere near my calls.
Yeah. I had the best lieutenant I ever had was when I was on midnights, and there were times where we had fucking everything's on fire, and the shit is proverbially hit the fan, and he got on the radio. And what he said was, obviously because of rank, but like he knew exactly what to do. He started organizing assets. He was getting the drone unit. He was getting K9 for us. He was getting Air 1 for us. He was getting
And he also didn't do 3 years on patrol, become a sergeant, sergeant, and lieutenant. He did some cool stuff. Like he did some specialized units and some detective stuff. And like,
it was very rare that you heard him getting on the radio without hearing his sirens in the background. He was in a patrol car. That man was in a patrol car, coming for us, coming to be a leader, not a manager, but like that. I was one of the best. And on that same shift, I had a very good sergeant. I was very fortunate. I had a handful of really good sergeants, but they absolutely changed. And I almost never, thankfully, interacted with anybody past the lieutenant level because it's never for a good thing. But those guys really did make a difference. And the reason why the cops, your P1 cops, even your corporals, are good at what they do is because they learn from good leaders.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you get a good cop that just kind of emerges out of a shitty department. It's pretty rare.
No, yeah. And I'm with you, Bill. There were people that I would have followed to the gates of hell with. And then there are other people I would look at and I was like, hey, I'll be over here if you need me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true. Hey, so you guys want any last thoughts to wrap this up?
So I wanted to touch base on de-escalation.
Okay.
And I'll call it the myth of de-escalation.
All right.
And I think a lot of people... and we've had this conversation, Bill and I have talked about this a lot, that a lot of people believe that it's kind of like a taser, the best way I could describe it, that when I utilize de-escalation, it works.
Every time.
That your success rate for de-escalation is 100%. Or that if it's not being applied, you're not doing it right. I'm like, okay, do you know what de-escalation looks like in a violent situation? The Uvalde shooting.
Yes.
Yeah, good luck with de-escalation in that situation.
Well, but that's technically the protocol for de-escalation is you create a perimeter and you start to open up a channel for dialogue, right?
Yeah.
So I can sit there. We could very easily take an APC, right, armored personnel carrier, drive up to it and talk to the guy to try to talk him down, right? Nobody asked for de-escalation after the fact. They wanted the door kicking, go get him kind of cops because other people were suffering from the inactivity of law enforcement, right? And so again, it's not everyone that talks about it is so sterilely. They have such a sterile relationship with violence in the instance that it doesn't affect them, right? Yeah. It's never the victims of domestic violence that are asking for de-escalation when officers are arresting violent felons. It's never the person that got carjacked. It's never the person that got, murdered, you know what I mean? Or the families of those that got murdered. They're not asking for de-escalation. It's this third-party observer that believes in their mind that the officer's primary job, is to just create peace. And in a way, you're right. However, you're taking that concept and bastardizing it. Sometimes creating safety means killing the wolf.
Yep.
Okay, yes. that is ultimately that is what you're asking. Is the reason why
That's how you protect the sheep, is you kill the wolf.
Yeah. And we try to build defense. We try to make the little noisemakers. We try to make it as hard as we possibly can as society to make it difficult for these predators to get to said sheep. But ultimately, I'd be pretty pissed off if my sheepdog just sat there and was like, "Hey man, stuff's happening to the sheep." I'm like, well, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? The sheep, as they're sitting there,
barking. I'm trying to talk to him. I'm barking.
The sheep are going to stand there,
helping. I promise.
Getting their throats ripped out, and you're standing there as a farmer with a gun in your hand and the other one with your dick, and you're not doing anything. Like,
right?
What are you? Like that's how weird it sounds to me, at least, and I'm sure Bill and I'm sure Chris can see when people look at that. Why didn't they de-escalate while that guy was running while shooting at law enforcement? I don't know.
I'm with you. That was the best way to put it.
Yeah.
How long are you gonna stick to de-escalation when it's clearly not working?
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to the hesitation thing. Yep. You can try and de-escalate all day. Some people are not going to conform with what you're trying to do. What's your next step? Violence, almost always.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the part that bothers me, is just like, we can sit there and come on, in 2 hours, there are other citizens that, that like you said, where you guys were. What was the population of your jurisdiction?
200K.
No,
I think almost 300.
The total city is 420,000.
Okay, 420,000. There's a problem when half of your resources in patrol is dedicated to trying to de-escalate a person down. What is going on in the rest of the damn city? That's what we have to think about as well. Is like, we have a responsibility to all of those other residents. Even if there are no calls for service, we have a responsibility to be driving down those streets. And I always say this, looking for bad people doing bad shit to good people. It's like, we don't get to do that when we're sitting there. Hey, sir, will you please come down? Yeah. Hey, sir.
Well, and how often is it just one officer doing de-escalation?
It's not.
If it's that serious of a situation, you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 officers.
Yeah.
For parts of our town, that's a whole shift.
That's a whole shift, exactly. And it's just like, I always feel bad for those other citizens that are waiting there for us, and it's just like, but you guys said it the best. Sometimes, for there to be peace, I love that, the wolf has to be killed. That needs to be on a t-shirt. That's an OnlyCops t-shirt right there.
An OnlyCops t-shirt. Producer Juan, when you're watching this later. Yeah, but or Fox, you butthole.
Who? Wait. Who'd you say? Who?
Who's that?
I used to have this moderator named Fox.
But yeah, like I said, it's until it's affecting you, you tend to not care. The easiest, simplest analogy for that's a car accident, right? If I have to shut down the interstate for a car accident, everyone's like, "Hey, how quickly can we wrap this up?"
Yeah,
because I got to go home.
Especially fire. Fire's always asking that question.
True.
Hey, you still need us here, blocking all this traffic for you with our big red truck?
Yeah. But it's a weird myth, and there are plenty of examples that aren't use of force related where de-escalation makes sense. Yeah. Like 100, but in domestics, or when you're trying to conduct an investigation, or you're trying to settle like a fucking civil thing that you shouldn't even be there for in the first place. I am 110% on team de-escalation. I believe that. There's a lot of mental health issues where de-escalation makes a lot of sense, or just being a good listener. In use of force scenarios, it's a sliver. It's ask, tell, make. Yeah, it's ask, tell, make for a reason. De-escalation is in the ask phase.
Yeah, that's in a use of force situation. De-escalation has to be low.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Because you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting other people at risk.
Agreed.
Let's see. Under what circle? When is CNT? I'm guessing that's like a crisis intervention team.
Or CNT stands for Crisis Negotiation Team or something like that.
That's supposed to be cops these days.
So at the only time that can happen is if you have a secured scene, really and truly, and if you have an isolated person. But what comes down to is, again, if it takes 8 cops, right, to isolate a person and to keep them from having avenues of escape, and then you can kind of evacuate the fucking area that's around.
Yeah, and then how long does it take them to get there? Because for us, it was a SWAT team and a SWAT negotiator. Yep. You're talking 2 hours minimum.
So like and this is, and again, it goes back to that whole Second Amendment conversation we're having. If I'm there and I can't leave now because I'm now in this situation, let's say someone goes to go rob you, right? Ask people in the city of Dallas what their response time is to priority 1 calls.
3 days.
Seriously, for priority 1. I mean, someone just jacked your car.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days probably.
Yeah, your car stolen. Good luck.
It's no joke, Chris. Like that.
Yeah, that's not.
bad.
Yeah, that's not. It is a.
We're not even. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm
Yeah,
serious.
that's not a.
There's
that's
some
not,
calls that like don't get answered for 3 or 4 days, depending on their priority.
That is utterly amazing. Wow.
And if it's a busy like weekend, like something crazy's going on, you're talking a day or 2 for priority 1 calls.
Oh, look who joined the chat, gentlemen.
Oh, look at that. There he is.
You want to talk about a critic of Dallas PD's response time to stuff? He's been personally victimized by that at least once.
Yet he still lives there.
Yeah, that's true. But I kind of wanted to bring it. I know you had mentioned wanting to talk about de-escalation, and
no, I appreciate that. That was the best. I loved what you said. It was perfect. It was awesome. Yeah. And I just hope the cops watching this too kind of take that to heart as well. I mean, you guys got to go home. Long story short, you guys got to go home.
I want, when the shit hits the fan and everyone has to put up with it soon, that there's more of y'all that I can go be friends with still, because I gotta sleep sometime. Okay, like we'll take shifts dealing with the nonsense, and in notice again in the what is it, the Walking Dead scenario, who ended up leading that group?
A cop.
That's right.
Damn straight.
Yep. Well, gentlemen, I got to call it. I got a couple things I got ready for work here. But I do appreciate you joining me.
For now.
You don't have to go to work.
You don't have to go to work. You're an at-will employee, my guy.
I love these guys.
We
could make this like a twice a week kind of thing. Like.
Oh, I'd love to. Actually, that's the whole thing. Is that's the stuff that I'm looking at. Is if I retire, I can stream more and do a lot more. Really grow this channel.
Subscribe to Chris's channel and like this video. Throw him some super chats. Join his Patreon.
And share it. Share this
every single time. Every single time you do it, I want you to hashtag retire.
Yes. Yes.
Assault him with retire. I will unsub if you do not retire. Threaten him.
Oh, well, hey, you want to do your outro, Josh?
Sure. Like I said, we're on YouTube. We are OnlyCops. Bill and I were former law enforcement, and now we talk shit about stuff that's law enforcement related. If you want to go check us out, you can go find us on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, where we have our very infamous admin skits. If you guys really, really love us and you really want to support content like this, we collaborate with a handful of different creators. You can go join us on Patreon. Patreon is as little as $1 a month, and it gives you access to our Discord, of which Chris is both a contributor and a member of. And that's how we do all of our Hood Rat stuff. We have our Tactical Tuesdays, which have gotten a lot more exciting post the Ready or Not update. And we have a bunch of other games that we're going to be getting into. My life situation's also changing a little bit, so I'll be available a lot more periodically for collaborations and things like that. And Bill is, of course, studying it up for us with his beautiful retirement shirt and glorious beard. And he keeps the production value high. So
right.
That's all we have. Thank you, Producer Juan, for showing up towards the tail end. And no thank you to Fox Commander for not helping us.
Exactly.
You bum.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's our latest episode of Coffee with the Cops. It was kind of even impromptu, I'll be honest with you, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to come online today or not. But we're going to get back to our regular schedule. For those of you that are watching this later on down the line, because I do look at the analytics, and at least the Coffee with the Cops gets about 15 to 2,000 views later on down the line, I'm going to remind all of you, head on over to OnlyCops. A lot of the stuff that you asked me to do that I can't do, they're doing. And I've watched their show. I've watched their show live, and they're legitimately giving you guys an awesome perspective. Trust me, it's awesome. They don't always side with law enforcement. In fact, they are very critical of law enforcement, which I'm very critical of law enforcement as well. But yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out because, like I said, OnlyCops, without their support, it's been neat. We got Tactical Tuesdays, as Josh was mentioning. Now this is called Coffee with Cops. And there's so much cool other collaboration stuff that's going behind the scenes right now, guys, that we're both going to be offering, both channels are going to be offering so much more content that you guys can, love and appreciate. But like I said, we're going to give you the perspective of cops. We are pro law enforcement. If you don't like it, then you're on the wrong channel. And that's pretty much it. But I want to thank you guys all again. I want to thank Josh and Bill again. And thanks, Fox Commander, for fucking nothing today. And Producer Juan, thanks for joining us on those last couple of minutes. But there you go. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Don't forget, next Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be doing a lot more Ready or Not. We're going to try to beat that damn game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone, take care of yourself. Take care of one another.
Bye-bye.
We can make the world a better place by just helping one person at a time, and that could be with a simple smile or comment. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris the Cop saying peace. Josh, Bill.
Bye-bye.
All right. We are going end stream.